So you listened to episode 1 and something landed. Maybe you felt seen in a way that was slightly uncomfortable, or maybe you forwarded to someone before it was even finished, or maybe you just sat quietly for a minute after it ended. But that response, right, that recognition, that physical feeling of, oh, that's me, that's your nervous system waking up. And today we're going to talk about exactly what's happening inside it. The real science, the kind that explains everything. Welcome back to Fences and Flowers. I'm Dr. Sushma Manda, and this is episode 2 of our Welcome series. Today we are talking about the almond running your life. Stay with me. Deep inside your brain, there is a structure called the amygdala, about the size of an almond, sitting right in the center of your limbic system, and its entire job, its only job actually, is threat detection. Is this safe? Is this dangerous? Do I fight? Do I flee, freeze, or do I fawn? Now, here is what most people never get told. The amygdala does not distinguish between a tiger and a dead lion. It does not know the difference between your child talking back to you and an actual physical threat to your survival. It responds to perceived threat, full stop. And if you grew up in a household, a culture, a system where emotional expression was unsafe, where failure meant rejection, where rest meant falling behind, where love had conditions attached to performance, your amygdala got trained. It got trained to stay on all the time, permanently as a baseline. Now, where it really feels important is a chronically activated amygdala suppresses the activity in your prefrontal cortex, which is in the front of the brain. So the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain responsible for nuance, long-term thinking, empathy, emotional regulation, creativity, and the genuine human connection, which means the more stressed you are, the less access you have to the exact capacities you need to navigate that stress. You get it? This is not a metaphor. This is neurophysiology. This is what is actually happening in the brain tissue of every high-functioning, burned-out human being right now. And it gets personal here. That physician or a nurse who snapped at her colleague this morning and felt terrible about it the whole rest of the day, that's amygdala hijack. That parent who said something to their teenager that came out completely wrong, too harsh, too cold, and then did not know how to walk it back, so they just pretended it did not happen, that's amygdala hijack. That founder who spent 4 hours in a complete spiral about one critical email instead of making one decision and moving on, that's amygdala hijack. That parent at the dinner table checking their phone every 3 minutes, not because they want to do it, but because stillness feels threatening for them, that's amygdala on permanent watch. You're not a bad clinician. You're not a bad parent. You're not a weak leader. You're a highly intelligent human being whose threat detection system has been running on high alert for so long that emergency has become your normal. Now, I want to give you a framework that's going to change how you see everything. Dr. Stephen Forges, one of the most important neuroscientists of our time, gave us polyvagal theory, right? And what it tells us in plain language is this. Your nervous system has 3 gears. First gear is safe and social. This is called the ventral vagal state. This is where you're connected, curious, creative, warm, present, playful. This is where your best parenting happens, where real leadership lives, where intimacy is actually possible, where your genius comes from, where you feel most like yourself. Second gear is fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system activation, heart rate up, cortisol flooding, tunnel vision, speed, reactivity, urgency. This gear was designed for the genuine emergencies, short bursts, specific threats. Most high achievers live here permanently and have rebranded it as productivity and ambition and drive. The third gear is shutdown. That's dorsal vagal collapse, emotional flatness, numbness, disconnection, going through the motions with nothing behind the eyes. This is the clinician, doctor, nurse who has stopped feeling anything in the exam room and has not told anyone because they are terrified of what it means. The parent who's physically present and spiritually on another continent. The executive who cannot remember the last time they actually laughed. Not performed a laugh, but actually laughed. Now, nobody in your training, your culture, your profession, or ever told you, right? You cannot access your genius from gear 2 or 3. This is not what they told you. You cannot be the parent you actually want to be from gear 2 or 3. You cannot build real intimacy from gear 2 or 3. You cannot lead people in a way that genuinely moves them from gear 2 or 3. And the entire system you were trained inside, the medical system, the immigrant hustle culture, the startup grind culture, the corporate achievement culture, it runs in gear 2 and calls it excellence. It's not excellence. It's expensive. It's depleting. And it has an end date. Gear 1 is where sustainable power lives. And the entire methodology of Potential You, everything we do inside nervous system diplomacy, everything we are building together on this show is about getting you to gear 1 and teaching you to stay there even when life is demanding gear 2. That's the skill, that's the work, and that's what changes everything. So let me ask you something before you go. Which gear are you in right now? Not which gear do you want to be in. Which gear are you actually in? Notice that. Don't judge, just notice, because awareness is always the first move. You probably heard this a million times. You cannot update a system you cannot see. And you're starting to see it. So episode 3 of this welcome series is called Arjuna Had a Nervous System Too. And it is where the neuroscience we just covered meets 5,000 years of Vedic wisdom and a little something from A Course in Miracles, and it all converges into something that's going to make your daily life look very different. The soccer practice, the meltdown, the partner who says, "You're not really here," the critical email spiral we get into, and we are going to walk through all of it with real tools and real truth. Go straight to episode 3, and if you know someone who needed to hear what we covered today, someone who keeps saying they're fine and clearly is not, share this episode with them. You might be giving them the first language they have ever had for what they're living. I'm Dr. Sushma Manda. This is Fences and Flowers. See you in episode 3.